Wednesday, March 18th, 2020. You are listening to the Daly Dose Sports Podcast, and I am your host, Clint Daly, coming to you from the Mile High City right here in Denver, Colorado. And we are back again this week to discuss the world of sports with a dose of common sense, which is desperately needed these days. Hey, happy Wednesday to you. I hope that your week is off to a solid start. You know, it's coming around really, really fast this year, but you got to keep in mind that depending on which day you choose to kind of agree with, tomorrow or Friday or Saturday or something, spring starts this week.
Spring! Rejuvenation! Rebirth! Everything's blooming! All that crap!
Yes, majestic, lovely spring. You gotta love spring, right? I mean, we've gone through this long, hard winter. It's been cold. Well, I mean, depending on where it is that you're listening to the dose, maybe it hasn't been any of those things. Maybe you're in a warm climate and you're going, oh yeah, spring. Oh good, it's gonna get even hotter here soon. Here in Colorado, spring has a little bit different meaning than for most people. And a lot of people are kind of confused about Colorado weather. Here in the Rocky Mountains, it's a little bit different. People think of, well, it's like Christmas time, and then you get a lot of snow, and then in the spring, it gets nice. That's not how it works here in my home state. That isn't how that goes. We don't really get all that much snow November, December, even January and February. Now it's getting to be spring. Now is when we actually start getting the snow. We get all the accumulation. We get those big, heavy, wet snows. March and April, those are the heavy snow months here in Colorado. We get a ton of snow at that time. So I know a lot of you are thinking, well, it's warming up. It's getting nicer. The days are getting longer. And don't get me wrong, we're seeing some of that here in Colorado. Oh, but make no mistake, this is absolutely when we are getting our heaviest snow. No question about that. So hey, spring gets started this week. Hopefully it is good in your area. Now, we actually have something a little bit special for you today. Hopefully it's going to help you get through the rest of this week and enjoy the start of spring. Hey, but real quick, if you would like to order some Daly Dose gear, make sure you go over to tpublic.com. Over there, we've got t-shirts, we've got sweatshirts, we've got hoodies. You can order with a few different Daly Dose designs. We have our standard Daly Dose logo gear. We have our Daly Dose I-Team gear. If you want to wear what the pros out in the field are wearing, you go get the Daly Dose I-Team gear. Plus, we do have our faster than domestic violence design over there as well. You can order those shirts, hoodies, t-shirts, sweatshirts in any color that you want. Plus, we've got a number of other items over there. We've got stickers. We've got coffee mugs. We've got laptop covers, cell phone covers. If you see an item at tpublic.com that we don't have our Daly Dose logo on it, let us know because we can make that up for you pretty quick. Just stop by tpublic.com, search Daly Dose, scroll down until you see our logo, and there you can find exactly what it is that you need. Be sure to stop by tpublic.com. Also, the NCAA brackets are now out, and you need to make sure that you head over to ESPN and join our Daly Dose March Madness brackets. It's really, really easy. And you know what? We seem to be getting a bigger turnout for this every single year. Big Rob sets this up for us every year. It's easy to join. Just go over to ESPN.com, go to the tournament challenge, click on that link, and then click join group. If you search for the group Daly Dose or Daly Dose Sports Podcast, it'll come up. Join up with us. You create your username, you make your picks. And by the way, if you pick a perfect bracket, you win like $1 million and it's free to sign up. So it's super, super easy. And also, we do have to announce that the winner of our bracket is once again going to win a Daly Dose t-shirt. So make sure that you go over to ESPN and you make your picks and you join our Daly Dose Sports Tournament Challenge bracket. Hey, we want you to join our group. It's free. Anybody is welcome. Bragging rights are at stake. Make sure you head over to ESPN.com. Hey, like I said, today on the show, we actually have something a little bit different for you. We are taking a little bit of time taking care of a few things that I've got to deal with, but we are going to be flashing back to a previous episode of the Daly Dose, and I've got an interesting one for you here. It was the summer of 2015. And you know, when we kind of hit those hot dog days of summer, there's really not that much going on. Basketball's over. I mean, baseball's going, but who cares? Football hasn't started yet. It's just kind of that lull before we get into football, college football, the NFL, all those things. We were in those dog days back in 2015. Well, I didn't want to break down the bullpens of the American League or something like that. So what we decided to do instead was we broke out the old Daly Dose mailbag. Now, if you were listening to the Dose back in the radio days, you might remember the Daly Dose mailbag. We would get emails or we would get texts or we would get tweets or whatever from listeners, and we would read those on the air and give you our answers. Well, on this episode, we actually broke out the old Daly Dose mailbag and we read a few listener emails. We should probably bring that back at some point, shouldn't we? I mean, I do still get emails and texts and tweets and stuff like that from listeners, and I'll always take the time to get you an answer. We just don't always end up using it on the show because it seems like there are so many things coming out in sports news that like we just don't always have the time to talk about those things on the show. We're trying to talk about the most up-to-date things. So we'll always take the time to get you an answer, but maybe we ought to bring that back. If we get enough emails, we may have to dedicate a show this summer to reading some of your emails that you send to us, because we do have smart listeners here at the Daly Dose. We've always had smart listeners. It's one of the things that started way back when we first started this show. It's one of the great things about doing the Daly Dose. But today on the show, we answer some of your listener questions. It's kind of funny because we answer some questions about what would eventually become the Daly Dose I-Team. We discussed some youth sports questions. Someone wrote in and was asking about a youth sports situation. We name our all-time Daly Dose NBA starting five. We even give some advice to a young person that was hoping to make their basketball team. And get this, I'm not joking, we even hand out some dating advice to a confused person that was trying to figure out exactly what to do in their love life. Hey, we've got all the answers here at the Dose. We cover a lot of ground in this episode, so sit back, relax, and enjoy a throwback episode of the Daly Dose. Wednesday, July 29th, 2015. You are listening to the Daly Dose Sports Podcast, and I am your host, Clint Daly, sports writer from Denver, Colorado. Hey, we release a new podcast every single Wednesday, and we bring you a little bit different of an outlook on the world of sports than you get anywhere else. If you want something a little bit different than what is, spit out by all those other companies, if you want some insight on your sports, if you want some humor with your sports, stick around and get comfortable. You're going to like what you find right here. If you would like to contact me, a couple different ways you can do that. You can find me on Twitter, Daly Dose Sports. Twitter handle is at Daly Dose Sports. DALYDOSE, Daly Dose Sports. You can find me on Facebook with the same name if you would like to spice up that hideous Facebook feed. I know mine is not always my favorite thing to open. If you'd like to go over to our website, check out the website, dalydosesports.wordpress.com. I think you will find some articles. You will find some things on there that you will enjoy. We put a few different things on there. We have some polls on there. We have some articles that go up every week. Check them out. I've gotten some good feedback on those, and I think you will like those. So head on over to check that out. If you would like to email us here at the show, email us here, dalydosesports@gmail.com. That comes directly to the show. And, the reason that I bring that up, speaking of email, I have something a little bit different for you today. Over the past 6-7 months that we've been doing the podcast, I've been collecting some of the best questions, from both Twitter and from emails. And I'm going to read those for you today. I've told you in the past, probably the best part about doing this podcast is coming in contact with some really, really smart listeners. And the great thing about the Daly Dose, we have smart listeners. They don't just buy the nonsense that's spit out by, the major sporting outlets that are out there. They come here for something a little bit different. And we have some really, really smart listeners. Going back to the old radio days, when we were called the Thinking Man's Sports Show, back to the Daly Dose, the radio show in Denver, we have some intelligent listeners, and you have sent some intelligent questions. And so today, on the Daly Dose, I am going to crack open the old Daly Dose mailbag. Do you remember the old Daly Dose mailbag if you were with us back in the day, and see a few of the letters that we have, a couple of things that have been sent to me that I think you might find interesting. The question, one of the things that I get constantly, one of the emails and the tweets that I get constantly is basically this: Clint, you're a jerk. Stop making fun of my favorite team, my favorite coach, my favorite player. And I have a lot of those. That's okay. That's all right. Those don't hurt my feelings. When I first started getting those hurt my feelings a little bit. But I'm past that now. I'm beyond that. And those are okay. Here's the thing. I've said this in the past. It's better to be talked about than just to be completely like we don't even pay attention to you. There's a couple teams, I'll be honest, there's a couple teams out there that I pick on. But for the most part, I'm only talking about you if you're relevant. Patriots fan, I'm only talking about you because you're relevant. I wouldn't talk about you if you were horrible. If you're like the Saints or something, I don't have I don't care. I don't even bring you up. If you're like the Browns or something, I have no reason to bring you up. If I'm talking about you, don't be so sensitive. I have a couple people who have gotten very sensitive about me picking on their college team. And we haven't even gotten into college football season yet. And they're already like, what's your problem with my school? Calm down. Ease up. It'll be okay. It'll be all right. Let's get to the real questions. Here's one. Clint, you say we a lot when you were on the show, but we never hear anyone else on the show. Who exactly is we? Andrew sent that in. Andrew, let me tell you. Here's the question. Do you think that I am smart enough to do this show by myself? Because I have news for you. I have a number of contributors, and they're not always, they're kind of behind the scenes that help me. They'll help me, I'll bounce ideas off of them. They'll shoot me some different ideas and we'll kind of go back and forth. I have people like John. I have people like, Mike, Rob, Larry, Todd will give me some stuff. Kristen will give me some stuff. I have a couple people here and there, friends, people that are, we kind of count them among the brain trust and consult with them on a lot of the things that we talk about or things that I write articles on or whatever it might be. And then after I kind of consult with them and we kind of discuss some of these things, I ignore them and then do whatever I feel like doing. But I'll make a note. We may have to bring some of these people on because I have some of these people that are out there that I think if I brought them on the show, you would enjoy hearing them. We'll have to, a couple of them are like Rob's busy. Rob's a busy guy. Rob keeps hidden. He keeps to himself. I try to bring him out for certain things, but he keeps kind of hidden. There are certain people just around. Larry's kind of like that. There are certain people. I'll bring some of these people on. Just know in the future, you will get a look inside the brain trust here at the Daily Dose. Let's go to our next email. Clint, I really enjoy the show. Thank you. I appreciate that. You always make me laugh at work while listening on my headphones, which makes people around me think that I'm crazy. So thanks for that. You're welcome. You talked a few shows ago about Texas being conservative and Colorado being more liberal. Do you consider yourself a conservative or liberal politically? That is from Vince. Thank you for the question. I appreciate that. When it comes to politics, when it comes to anything, I don't care if it's politics. I don't care if it's religion. I guess I prefer to consider myself a member of like the common sense party. If you agree with every single thing someone says, you probably need to check yourself. Like if you sit there and you say, I am a conservative, and so the Republican Party, I go right down the list and yep, I agree with every single thing that, really? So to answer the question, I guess I consider myself, I guess I would be independent. There are things I'm conservative on. There are things that I'm more liberal on. And it's kind of having that balance, because if you agree with every single thing someone says, like if you agree with everything maybe your boss says, or maybe your psychiatrist, or your, pastor, reverend, or whatever, every single thing they say, I agree with. Really? You may want to check yourself. Because you're like in the crosshairs for like being a member of like a cult or something. So check that just a little bit. And I do think it's weird. And I'm not the first person to say this, but I think it's weird in America. In a dictatorship, you have one candidate. Like you go to I guess if you're going to vote, you have that one single candidate and that's the only choice that you have. That's all you get. You're over in Iran or whatever, and that is your only choice. It's a dictatorship. Here's your vote however you want, but you're voting for one guy. But here in America, it's different. It's the bastion of civil liberties. It's freedom. It's a nation of resources and multiple cultures. So we have two candidates, which is weird to me. It's just strange to me. I feel like we shouldn't be boxed into those two parties, and that's, I guess, why I would consider myself more independent, because it doesn't make sense. Like we evolve in different ways. I look at things a little bit different way, and I look at this and say, well, this party I think is right here, but over here they're completely out of their minds, and this part. So